Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dr. Mike. And if you're catching the replay, hopefully, uh, hopefully you guys are watching this and having a great day. It's actually been a while since I jumped on and did a Instagram live. Usually, I'm doing the Instagram stories and just posting up on IGTV. So thought I'd jump on and do an Instagram live. Looks like a bunch of people are jumping on. Wave hello. How's it going? Like I said, hopefully everything's going well today for you guys. There's a couple things I wanted to jump on board today and talk to you guys all about. Is that I consult with people all around the world, people in Europe, people in the United States, people in Asia, and there's a commonality that I find. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, and it's what I like to call the second puberty. All right, we're all familiar with that first puberty, that transition from going from a child into adulthood. But there's actually a second puberty that a lot of people go through, and they don't recognize that they go through. And there's so many things that leave people in the dark, and this is between typically the ages of 27, 28 to about 39, maybe 41. And it's also dependent upon your type of lifestyle, how much stressors you're going through and all that kind of stuff. Hey, how's it going, everybody? And I see this on almost every single patient. They go through the exact same thing, and we call it all these different names. We call it anxiety. We call it depression. There's a huge issue going on with depression. I see a lot of people going through these things called depression, and I myself went through it as well. Maybe about what was it, 2012? So maybe about 7 years ago, I went through what was, in my opinion, was a pretty scary situation. I went to the ER a few times. I went to the different specialists because I was having all types of issues. I was night sweats. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Digestion was totally off. In the back of my head, I kind of knew what was going on, but I wanted to make sure that I covered all my bases. So I went through the whole 9 yards, and that's, like, if you guys read my posts, I always say, hey, you know what? There's this time and a place for Western medicine, but it doesn't necessarily cover all of your bases, nor should it be used a tool for all the time. But definitely, it should be used when you need it. So I was having all these different symptoms, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't freaking having a heart attack, or something wasn't bursting in my gut. You got to cover your bases there. So I did that. But I wasn't given any answers, and I wasn't given any type of direction. And when I work with all these patients, that I consult with, they echo the exact same thing. They echo that frustration of, I'm not getting the answers, or direction per se. It doesn't matter, the answers. It matters about the direction. And can you point somebody in the right direction and give them a path to follow? So, when I was going through all of those things, I was given pretty much the same answer that all the rest of my patients were given. Well, we don't really know what's going on. Maybe you need to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Maybe it's all in your head. And I left all these places frustrated, no doubt. And I sensed the frustration in a lot of the patients that I consult with as well. They echo the same things of, hey, I've gone to all the docs, and I'm not getting the answers. I'm not getting the direction that I want. And that's when I started coining the thing called the second puberty, of where we transition out of, in our adulthood stages and going into the next part of our life. And there are certain things that one needs to be done previous to going through that, and then what you need to be doing post. Okay. And this hits home more for women as well, especially moms who go through pregnancies and their hormonal shifts are just rampant, right? So there's things that you guys need to be doing beforehand. And the biggest thing, there's no pill, there's no, magic potion or whatever. It comes down to managing your stressors. And I put out a post today where I talked about, control what you can control, and then all the rest of the stuff, let it slough off. Right? You got to be able to look at your life and know, can I actually affect and make a change in the thing that is being presented to me right now? Do I have control over it? And I see so many people arguing about things in the world that they have no control over, and people get into huge debates, and it's a big issue that's going on with people. And I remember I had this one patient came into the office, and she's totally flustered. Took her blood pressure, and her blood pressure skyrocketed. Now, if I was her medical doctor and I took her blood pressure and I saw that, I would have immediately said, "Hey, you know what? You're a hypertensive, and we need to put you on some type of anti-hypertensive medication." But then I started to dive deeper and ask her questions, and she voluntarily said, "Hey, you know what? I read something on the internet that really got me into a heated discussion with somebody." And we have those moments, right? But then I asked her the question that I posted out this morning is, do you have control over that? Can you control that situation? And if the answer is no, there's no sense in you spending all that energy with. And I see a lot of people going in, especially when you go from high school, going into college, into your adult years, we tend to take on things in our life that's so meaningless. People get so stressed out over things that they have no control over. Okay? So the biggest thing is you gotta be able to know what and then manage that. You gotta be able to manage that. And my biggest takeaway for you guys on this is meditation and journaling. All right? Now, when you journal, I don't want you guys writing about all the bad stuff that's happening to you. I want you to create your life. You can create whatever you want. You can create it in your mind first, because that's where it needs to be created. First is here. And then once you got that focus, then you can go on and take the actions that needs to happen. But it first has to come from here. It has to start in the mind first. And you have to be able to understand that you're in control of your world, not the world's in control of you. Okay? We live in a society that's an externally driven world, right? We feel and we keep this mentality of this victimhood mentality, and that's what I see with a lot of patients that I consult with, is that the things that they're telling me is all of these external things. One, they have no control over it, and two, it doesn't even freaking matter, right? So if you look at it, in essence, a lot of times medical doctors are right. It is all in your head, and we got to do a better job at looking at what's being fed into our minds, because that's big in social media. I see so many people buying into all of this stuff out there, and oftentimes, it's a marketing thing, is that we appeal to people's senses, and we appeal to I'm lost for the word here, convenience, another word for convenience, whatever. But we appeal to conveniences, when you look at general marketing, and that's why Western medicine has such a grip on society, is that if we can tell you that you can take this little pill and all of your problems will be gone, or you're no longer sensor problems, everybody's going to take that route. But what are we doing, right? And that, in my opinion, has created a huge problem in our healthcare system, where we've taught people that mental laziness is okay. And that is a big problem. And going into, the second puberty, if the mentality is lacking, when these things hit, your life will crumble. Fortunately for me, I was trained by some of the foremost thinkers in humanity, and they grilled my mentality to be mentally tough. And if that never happened, I would have crumbled. So work on the mental game, and the only way that you can work on that is to understand yourself and understand who you are, and getting clear and clearing up all the smoke in your life, making sure that you don't have all the distractions going on, and making sure that you're okay with yourself. And I'm not talking about like becoming a narcissist, because that's a totally different thing that a lot of people have gone into, is narcissism. It's making sure that you're centered and grounded. Okay, and that's the biggest takeaway I want you guys to start working on, is knowing and coming to a sense of who you are, and really understanding what you can control and what you can't control, and control the things that you can control. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff that we worry about doesn't really matter. Okay, a lot of stuff doesn't matter, you know, and everything is going to pass. So you're in a situation right now, really focus on the things that you can control, and know that, hey, if it's a stressful situation, it's going to pass, and everything works out exactly the way that it should. And I'm not here to blow smoke up people's butts about that kind of stuff, but it's just, that's the way that it is. I mean, we've all gone through stressful times, and once you get past that, and you get into the next stage of, what I call the second puberty, if you don't manage that correctly, you're going to be living at a lowered state. Okay, and this is where I see a lot of people, and they're searching for the magic pill. They're searching for the next superfood out there, and it doesn't happen that way, guys. If you're at a lowered state, it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more to get your body back up, and it starts with the mental game. Because if you're constantly thinking about all kinds of worrisome thoughts, your body's going to respond accordingly. Okay, so this is one thing I want you guys to chew on that for a little bit, and if you guys have any questions, message me, and you can start a dialogue. And if you got anything concerning all that kind of stuff, let me know and see how I can help you guys. But I just wanted to jump on and hopefully impact your life in a little bit of a different way. If you guys have been asking questions on the Q&A sessions, thank you guys for the questions. And for those of you guys who have jumped on as Wellness Warrior Tribe members already, thank you guys for your trust in me, or if you guys are students in any of my courses, thank you guys for allowing me to impart the things that was taught to me, and hopefully you guys are getting value and benefit from that. All right, it's hot and humid here in Hawaii. I got to get back inside into the AC, but just wanted to jump on and tell you guys some of my thoughts for today. Till next one, be well and aloha.